Hello everyone, Dr. Victoria Skirbo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. I want to do a card reading on the situation in Afghanistan, and we have pulled out, and it has been likened to the fall of Saigon. We just sent in 3,000 troops to pick up all Americans and I guess certain Afghanis who've helped us to get them out of the country. And there's been mass movements in Afghanistan. There is a crisis in displaced people, and most countries are not willing to take anybody in. So these Afghanis, as if they haven't suffered enough in the last, I don't know, 40 years from our shenanigans, is now suffering yet again. Okay, so let's take a look and see what the cards have to say about Afghanistan at this time, and then we'll go from there. So we have the Five of Pentacles as the first card up. Of course, this is a complete sort of collapsing of the structure of the country. And the card here is worry, talks about worry. So money worries, economy worries, and worries around the economy, of course. Crossed by the strength card here in this deck, it's called lust. This to me feels like perpetrating against women. That's what this feels like. It's as if I think that there's this energy of, oh yeah, well, that when Americans were there, they thought they were safe. We'll show them how safe they are, that kind of thing. But especially to women, especially women judges, women in power, women in media, and all the rest. And we have, at the root, we have the Ace of Wands. This is a generally a new start, right? It's an ace. Numerologically, this is actually a 27-9, so there is an ending first, but there is a fire at the root, a great expression of fiery force, and that force can be sexual, In the past, we have the Hierophant. This was perhaps a functioning, we'll put that in quotes, government, but certainly 20 years of Americans being in Afghanistan created some sort of structure for them. As to whether it hurt them or helps them is another question. In the sky, we have power. We have the Four of Pentacles here, Sun in Capricorn, as it were, in this deck. But this power is very isolated and isolating. It is power, but it is a power that is very brittle, right? Brittle. In the immediate future, we have the Eight of Wands. The Eight of Swords. This is a lot of fear. People are going to have to be very careful. They're going to have to use their intuition. But all these swords do not bode well for, we might see a lot of beheadings and the like with that. How it's seen from the outside, defeat. Certainly, it's a defeat for the Afghanis, but it's especially a defeat for the United States. And in the immediate, and in the domestic situation, we have the Ace of Wands. So this is interesting. There are two aces in this reading. So there is an ending, but there is a new beginning. And Afghanistan does have the cash crop of opium, right? But they also have the rare earth minerals, which Trump talked about when he was talking about Afghanistan. I bet you didn't know. Did you know things called rare earth minerals? And I have a feeling, actually, that part of this whole Taliban taking over was kind of a setup so that certain people could make money and profits on those things. Get the government out, get the United States government out, and then these people who want to invest their money can invest their money. Now, who are those people? Are they the dark money people? Probably, you know, I don't know. Hopes and fears is hope. So we hope that things will get better. And let's see. And we have prudence as the outcome card. There's a lot of work that has to be done, and it has to be carefully cultivated. You know, it's interesting because this, in the background of this card, it looks like mountains, and I've seen pictures of the mountains in Afghanistan. That's kind of what they look like. Okay, let's see if we can get a major arcana. We have the Queen of Wands, Indolence, the Eight of Cups, and the Knight of Swords. Nope, no major arcana. Underneath we have the Knight of Cups. This is somebody who thought they had a good idea, love, relationship, and then sorrow. I think that there could have been a relationship where certain Afghanis saw America coming back into the situation, you know, beating back the Taliban. That's really why we went in there, right? Because the Taliban supported who did the Taliban support? The Taliban supported a oh my God, Osama bin Laden, who was a bin Laden, which means that he was Saudi, but his mother was from Yemen. So he was Yemeni and Saudi. And it's very interesting that yeah, there's something fishy about all that stuff. Of course, we know that. What exactly, we may never know. Maybe in the future we'll have a better idea of what that was all about. But I feel like there's just a lot of bad actors here. It's not just the United States, although you know, we certainly have blood on our hands. But I also think that the Saudis are involved somehow, and in all of this, not just 9/11, all of that stuff, right? Okay, so let's see. I guess the biggest worry for most people are the women and the children, and what's going to happen to the Afghani people. So let's pull some cards on what's ahead for women in Afghanistan. Let's see what we come up with here. Women in Afghanistan. We have the Ace of Wands. Now let me just see. Yeah, these are all upside down. Okay. So we have the Ace of Wands as the first card to come up. So again, we have this Ace of Wands. So there is a new beginning. There is an expression, fiery expression of creativity. Let's see what's challenging it. The Six of Pentacles. There may be not enough resources to support the creativity. with that. We have the Hierophant at the root here. The Hierophant was in the other deck as well in the past. So the fact that the Americans were there did influence the women. It did influence the women. Let's see what's in the past. The Queen of Pentacles, giving them an opportunity perhaps to feel power, to feel some sense of security. Let's see what's in the sky. A waking up, a judgment, waking up from the dead, or waking up to something, a realization of sorts. Let's see what's in the immediate future. The Ace of Pentacles again. That is so bizarre. So I've done 2 readings on Afghanistan. In both readings we had the Hierophant. In both readings we had the Ace of Wands and the Ace of Pentacles. So new opportunities for women. Now I know this sounds ridiculous, but that's what's coming up in the cards. So let's continue. How it's seen from the outside. There are secrets. There are things we do not know about yet. There are secrets. Domestic situation. The Empress. These cards are talking about powerful women. Powerful women. I hate the fact that this card has gotten connected to Russia. But it is possible that Russia could come in and help them. But I feel like with all the rest of these cards, we're dealing with this upsurgence of the power of the feminine. Maybe it's not women as much as it's power of the feminine. Hopes and fears, heartbreak, of course. And out come the Ten of Pentacles. This is family wealth. Somebody is making a lot of money off of this. The people who have the money are somehow in charge. And then we have the World, endings and beginnings. These are a lot more hopeful, actually, than I expected to find or expected to see. And you know, I'm trying to look at it from a more pessimistic point of view, because sometimes I tend to be a little Pollyanna, and but I see power in these cards. I see that somehow women will be rising up in power, and I do not know how that can happen with the Taliban. So the next question I will pose, and I think I'll use another deck. I want to take a look at the Taliban. I want to take a look at the Taliban. Let's use the Arcanum Deck. Alright. Oops. Yikes. I just dropped a whole bunch of markers. This was just at the top of the deck when I asked about the Taliban, the Tower. The Taliban. What's in store for the Taliban in the in near future? A year out, maybe. I was listening to somebody, oh, I can't remember who it was, and they were talking about, oh, I think it was somebody who was in the Afghani government. It was a woman, and she said, you know, because the United States keeps saying, oh, the Taliban, the Afghani, you know, we showed them how to do it, and they have to have the will, and they have to be the ones, this is their country, etc., etc. And she said, what makes you think they're not fighting? They are fighting. They're just being overrun. They're just being overrun. And you know, when you lose in Afghanistan to the Taliban, chances are you lose completely, right? But there is probably quite a bit of resistance there. So let's see what is in store for the Taliban, say over the next year. We'll give it a year here. The Four of Pentacles. This was in the Afghanistan picture, right? The first one I did. So they have a lot of money. They've been given a lot of money or promised a lot of money. Let's see what's crossing that. The Eight of Pentacles. The Eight of Pentacles is a card where you do the same thing over and over and over again. So they may have the money, but if they keep working in the same way, then that is going to be a challenge to their ability to hold on to their resources. We have the King of Cups at the root here. That could be Joe Biden. That could be Joe Biden because it often comes up as Joe. But this is, and this reading isn't about Joe Biden. It's about the Taliban. This is the patriarch. This is the person who, this is sort of a family values kind of guy. And I mean, I don't know anything about the Taliban, quite frankly, except that, you know, they tend to be very repressive and regressive. And maybe it's some sort of, you know, the other thing about this King of Cups is he's a king that holds the cup, but he doesn't look inside the cup. So while he holds the cup, he's not learning from the situation within the cup. And that is the feelings and the emotions. In the past, we have the Queen of Cups. Again, the feminine here. See what's in the sky. Wow, the Two of Cups. Partnership. That could be, they just said, the Taliban just said, we have Afghanistan and we're open to peaceful, you know, coexistence with other countries or something. Like, that's the thing that they said once they took over Afghanistan. In the immediate future, we have the Nine of Pentacles. More resources, more money coming in. For their crops, I guess, or for their rare earth minerals. How it's seen from the outside, downfall, a downfall. Now, is it the Taliban's downfall, or is it the death of Afghanistan that we're looking at here? Domestic situation, the Hermit. The Hermit. I feel like, I feel as though a lot of the things that are going to be happening, they're going to try to keep under wraps. And I don't think it's well-intentioned stuff either. I think that it's going to be very much black sites and different things like that. I don't think they're going to be as overt as they usually are. Hopes and fears. They actually want to reach out to the rest of the world. They want to reach out to the rest of the world. Perhaps that Hermit is lessons learned. Perhaps that's what the Hermit card is. Outcome for the Taliban. There's the Ace of Pentacles again. Money, resources. The High Priestess, secrets. The Queen of Swords. Underneath, the Lovers. And the Knight of Pentacles. I feel as though they have been, they've made a deal. I think it's the Trump administration that did it. I don't know. I should just do one more reading on Biden, right? Okay, let's do a reading on Biden, because these are the actors, right? Okay, one more reading, and we'll see how Biden fits into all of this. So I think that the Taliban have been promised a lot of money. That's what I think. And they want to, you know, they want to be in charge. They want to have the money. That's what I think, what's his name? Pompeo and all those guys were doing. Making deals with the Taliban, all that Taliban coming to Camp David stuff. All, you know, I mean, why not? It's always been about money for the Trump administration. And not to, you know, put this all on the Trump administration. But I think how this ended, kind of like what they did to the Kurds, right? I mean, it's been a total I don't know. All right, let's see. How is Joe Biden gonna? How is he? Let's do some cards on Joe Biden and Afghanistan. Let's see what comes up for that. I'm curious, very curious. Okay, let's see. Okay. We have the Six of Pentacles reversed. So I think for him, it was time to end this money pit, perhaps, that we got into. And of course, what's crossing that is the Taliban themselves, right? Things that are, actions that are cruel, and so I have to think that he knew what was going to happen to a certain extent. We have underneath it, we have the Two of Wands. I feel like this Two of Wands, as at the core of this particular reading, with these two cards coming up previously, the Six of Pentacles reversed and the Five of Swords crossing. I feel like this is trying to create a new relationship with overseas, a new relationship, looking for a different way to interact. And we have, in the past, we have the Hanged Man. He wanted to get out of Afghanistan for a long time, and he had to just sort of bide his time and wait to see it happen until he was in charge. We have the Knight of Pentacles again. So this is what's in the sky is something that has been seeded. This is also the Mercenary card, but I almost feel like this is that I don't know, in this deck if they have it so much. In the Rider-Waite deck, he's sort of sitting looking over his fields that have been planted. So I feel like he feels like we've given enough, and it's up to them to nurture the seeds that have been given to them. Not, you know, not that they asked for it. You know, I'm not saying that they asked for any of that. We just sort of came in and invaded the country, right? Because of the Taliban, and then we leave the country to the Taliban after 20 years. Perfect sense, right? We have the Fool card in the immediate future. And so this, it may have him look foolish. But this, it feels like it's a clean break. He wanted a clean break. Now, I don't know how clean of a break you can do, considering you've, as a country, the United States has pretty much destabilized the whole Middle East with the help of Saudi Arabia. How it's seen from outside, justice. Interesting. Justice. Domestic situation. The Empress. Well, this could be faith in the feminine, or it could be Russia. I'm not sure. I might pull some cards on that card. Hopes and fears. You know, like happiness, right? It's a hope. But nobody fears that card. Nobody fears happiness. Victory. Victory. So it's, the question is, this is victory and freedom. How is this victorious for him? I don't understand. Balancing of the monies. It could come down to finances. I don't know. The devil. The devil. I'm going to pick one more. The world upside down. This is like an abortion of something. Like a plan that was going to come to fruition does not come to fruition. Could it be that he was duped? Sorrow, the Knight of Cups, and the Six of Cups. This is the 46-1 vibration, which of course he's the 46th president. This is the 45th vibration. This is the 45-9, and Trump was the 45th president. I feel like he just decided that it was long enough. It was long enough. All right. I want to pull some cards on that Empress. I'll use this. I'll use the Thoth Deck. What is the Empress in the domestic situation? Who is that? Is that the rising feminine, or is that Russia, or just a few cards? Love. Adjustment, which is the Justice card. From the Tower. That doesn't make it any clearer for me. That doesn't make it any clearer for me. Now, I'm going to say this because this was the first thing that came to mind, and that's all I'm going to say. I don't have an explanation for it, so you can certainly disagree with me. But when I saw these cards here, I felt like on some level it was breaking. It was like a breaking of the pact with the devil. I don't know how else to explain it. I feel like getting out, he felt as though enough had been given. And perhaps that, you know, they have to face their own devil. How do you protect citizenry from their culture? How do you protect women from a misogynistic culture. You can't take them all and say, okay, we're, you know, you all live in Kabul and, you know, behind these walls. I feel, and this sounds, on a certain level, it sounds a little bit like, well, yeah, you can say that because you live in America and you're just safe and sound where you are, and, you know, you can wash your hands of this and not feel, you know, obligated because you did what you could do for them and now it's up to them. But there was a seeding. Things were seeded for 20 years in Afghanistan, and it's not really the question of should we have done it. We did it, and so you can't keep beating yourself over the past. You have to look to the future, and you have to be in the present, and you have to hope that the seeds of freedom, or the seeds of another way of being, or the seeds of the possibility. But of course, Afghanistan, you know, there were parts of Afghanistan where women had power. And then the Taliban came in, and then the Americans came in, and then they started giving women power again. And now the Taliban comes in. So this is you know, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Most countries who have invaded Afghanistan have gone from being empires to not. So it happened with Alexander the Great. It happens with Russia, and it is most likely happening with the United States. Will we be a world power? Not in the way that we were. Not in the way that we were. And perhaps the United States wasn't mature enough to have that onus of being in charge of everything. I don't think, well, I think the way money in politics is, and how our democracy doesn't really work because it's not representative of the people, but representative of all the people who, what do you call those guys? Lobbyists, lobbying, you know, whoever has the biggest bank account gets their way. We also have to take into consideration that we're in the middle of our Pluto return as a country, and we are going to perhaps barely have enough energy to deal with what we have to deal with here. And perhaps that was also part of it. But I don't think that the lessons have been lost on the Afghanis. And I definitely don't think the lesson has been lost on the women of Afghanistan. If we can find a way for the world to get together and keep an eye on these Taliban and say, look, we're not going to interact with you if you treat women this way. It can't just be America doing it. It has to be sort of a worldwide push for that. And, you know, Afghanistan is a great, this is going to sound cold, but this is not what I mean. It's like a petri dish for this. I mean, if it can work in Afghanistan, it could work anywhere. The rising of the feminine, and the feminine is rising. So, I don't know. It looked very promising for women in Afghanistan, which I would not have expected. That is what brings me a certain amount of hope with these cards. We will have to see. We will have to see what is going on with this. And probably should do some numbers on Afghanistan. I think that would be interesting to see. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Like and subscribe, and I will see you again on another day. Um, but before I go, let's hold the space for the women and the children and the refugees in Afghanistan and in all over the world where people are suffering and dying, and the fact that we can sit in our homes and be secure and have a roof over our heads and not have to worry that bombs are gonna, or that we're gonna get beheaded, or you know, whatever horrible things are out there. Um, it's our duty, in a way, to hold the space for them and to hold our hearts open um, in the best way that we can, whatever that means for you. Um, um, that's what I want to say. Okay, guys. Namaste. Much love.